What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cherokee Hacks Life. So I've been wanting to get a medicine ball for a little while now. And in case you guys have never tried to go out and buy a medicine ball, they're freaking expensive, man. I mean, you're spending for like an 8-pound ball, it's like 40 bucks. And I just thought that has to be an easier way. Now, I saw a couple videos on YouTube that kind of go over some of the details on how to try to make a medicine ball, but all of them seem kind of clunky, the quality kind of sucks. It just didn't, nothing seemed very concise and kind of broke everything down for you from beginning to end. So I wanted to make one for you real quick. Now I've already started one, and I started on a much lighter one. I'm making some for my kids. I'm also making some for my Little League team because I have a couple drills that I want them to use medicine balls for. However, I also need something that's a little bit heavier. So this one turns out to be about 20 pounds on a medicine ball that you do with a basketball. And then if you do one with the soccer, they tend to be about 8 to 10 pounds or so. So I'm going to be using both, and I'm going to try to make both so that way you guys get a good idea. Now, some of the tools that I've used, you can buy pretty much anywhere at a Walmart. And I could have very easily head out to the beach and grab some sand, but I wanted to show you guys as well that if you don't live near sand, you don't live near a beach, then you could easily go to Walmart and just pick some of this stuff up, or your local hardware store. One, you're going to need a funnel. And I picked this funnel in particular just because it's a little bit wider, and hell, it was even cheaper than some of the other ones. This one was only, I think, 87 cents, and I'll post up the prices of everything down below so that way you guys get a good idea of what you'll spend. Got some Gorilla Super Glue. That way, when you're actually patching up the hole that you're going to make, you're able to patch it up nice and tight, and this will definitely help. I also picked up some foam. Keep in mind that when you use foam, especially in these cans, it's a one-time use only. You're going to use them however many balls you're going to make within your time frame, or however many balls you want to make. You're going to use one can. And this stuff goes, and after it fills up into the holes and it dries up, you're never going to be able to use it again. So this stuff is actually really good, and I'll explain to you a little bit later why I use the foam. It kind of makes a lot of sense. Next thing is just your basic repair tool for campers or for like air mattress and stuff. You can find these very cheaply in the camping section of your local big lot store or whatever, or large Walmart. Also, of course, you're gonna need some sand. Now I picked up some play sand, and I picked up some play sand for a reason. This stuff tends to clump up really well, and I kind of like the idea that it clumps up. This gives me a much better medicine ball when it slams down. I don't want anything bouncing back and hitting me in the face or something. But more importantly, it doesn't shift around as much as you would get with just regular sand from the beach. That tends to slip and slide and stuff like that. This play sand tends to clump up real well, and it's designed really for kids inside of like a sandbox and stuff. So it's really cool in that regard. Also, you're gonna need two things: a pointy knife or something pointy of some sort, because since it's play sand, it will clump up a little bit over the funnel, but it's easy to actually just dig in there and just kind of dig it out, and it'll slide right in very easily. And you'll need like a steak knife of some sort. We're gonna puncture the hole with a steak knife. Another thing you're gonna wanna have is beer. Why? Because this shit's gonna take a while. Yeah. One more thing you want to make sure you get, or at least have, it actually will be helpful, so that way you can equalize the air as you're putting in the dirt or sand, is you want a basketball pin, so that way you can push it in. It's going to squeeze out some air. You don't want to squeeze it out all at once, because actually after you puncture it, it'll make the difference. So I wanted to make the puncture hole not too far away from the actual escape valve that I put here. And you want to make it as centered as possible, because remember, you're going to put a flap over this with the vinyl that you just purchased. So there you go. Made the puncture with the steak knife. Very easy to make. Kind of poke your finger in there. Yeah, soccer balls tend to have a second membrane on the inside. It's kind of weird, but it's how they make soccer balls or whatever. So you want to stretch this thing out nice. Then you want to push the funnel in. So there you go. Put the funnel inside. Stretched out the hole just a little bit larger than I wanted to, but it's okay. The patch should be large enough to be able to cover it up. And now you want to take a cup, fill it up with some play sand, dump it in, and now you start going to town. So yeah, when you're shaking it in, it's kind of like, remember when you used to first buy protein shakes? You went to Walmart, you bought the cheapest crap you can find because you're like, oh yeah, this is great. And that stuff clumps up really, really quickly when you pour in water or milk or anything. It just turns into a big clump of protein. It's kind of annoying. Kind of the same thing that you're doing here. Only this time it has a purpose. There's no purpose in having shitty protein. Alright, so as it starts filling up, you want to obviously start grabbing it and start shaking it around. You'll definitely start feeling the weight at this point. And then as you look down into the funnel, you'll start seeing how high you actually are. So again, this is why you want to shake it around, get it to all the corners. And this is why I chose the play sand, because the play sand will pack down really well and you can pack in some more sand. So just kind of giving it a couple drops will make it pack in really well and not shift around a lot, making it easier for you to put in a lot more sand. Alright, now with the basketball, it's the same exact concept. Only this time it's going to be a little bit easier because unlike a soccer ball, basketball inside doesn't have that second membrane. And now we fill. Alright, so after you've filled up all the balls that you're going to use, and again, I suggest you use a couple of them because you're going to need, you can only use the foam one time, or rather, one time very rapidly. I'll show you what I mean here. Basically, I got my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 balls filled up. Alright, see where all of them have the holes. All of them are filled up as high as they can, except for one of them. This one in particular, I only filled up halfway because I wanted to get about 15 pounds out of it. This one's filled up all the way too. This one's probably a solid 20. Same thing with this one. This one's probably a little bit closer to 18. That one's closer to 20 or more. This one's close to about 10 pounds. And then the smaller one here is probably closer to about 8. And you can kind of just tell. I mean, if you've been lifting weights for a while or whatever, you can kind of just tell. But and this one's really light. This one's probably maybe 5 pounds. But obviously, if you have a scale, this is a lot easier to be able to tell. This is all just me guesstimating it. The foam, what the foam's going to do is fill in that last bit inside of the actual ball. That last bit that you really can't fill up any more sand with your funnel. And in one instance here, I mean, seriously, after about an hour, I just kind of got tired of filling it up through the funnel. And I just opened up a flap. So that's going to be kind of my test one too. So that one has a flap. This one has a bit of a flap too. And again, it's just because after about an hour of filling these things up, I just got really bored. So let's kind of start off with the first one. I'm going to shake this thing. Put it in there as far as you can. And the foam's going to expand all the way up to the top. The good thing is too, this is actually going to seal the ball really well. So we're going to do the same thing with the other one. And remember, this thing is going to expand a lot. So you don't have to put that much in there. Alright, so I sprayed the foam and I waited till the next day for the foam to dry. One thing I will tell you is, don't spray too much foam. The bottle that I had gotten actually does extra foam, so I sprayed too much. It's fine. So the next thing you want to do is you want to cut off the excess foam. And it's going to be really hard. And that's the reason that I actually chose this stuff, because it's going to make a nice hard bond inside. so that way you don't have to worry about too much with any spillage or anything like that. Especially we're gonna put a cover on it as well. But this also stabilizes it inside. You guys can feel this. There's no shaking at all. There's no shifting of weight inside. I want you guys to see the one that I made with the flap. If you notice, this is what I mean about it completely being sealed up. But we're gonna put a flap right over the top, so that way it kind of seals this off completely, and you don't have to worry about this flap kind of hitting you. It'll be nice and smooth afterwards. So ultimately it's going to be looking like this. You got the patch right over it. Again, this is one of the ones that I did with a flap. The one that you have where, excuse me, you did it with the funnel, it should be a lot better, or you should be able to use one of the smaller patches that come in the pack. And if you did it with the flap, then obviously use the larger one. But this looks like it's going to be a solid bond all the way around. Now, just got to let it dry. So here's the final result, guys. They came out really, really well. I actually went out and weighed these. This one's actually 21 pounds, so I wasn't too far off. And this one turned out to be 9 pounds. So it actually turned out really well. The cool thing is too that they actually have been pretty durable. I've been beating the hell out of these things. I've thrown them on dirt, thrown them on concrete. They seem to be holding up pretty well. What I would suggest is try not to use a very, very old ball. For one of them, I used a really, really old ball. I mean, it's been sitting in my garage literally probably like, I don't know, like 7 years or something. Haven't really used it. And I guess the rubber, the seams actually gave away on one of them, and it just actually opened on the seam, didn't open on where the actual hole was, which says that the hole is actually pretty solid, but the seams didn't hold up well. You can get a really cheap ball at like Walmart, or you know, pretty much anywhere, just like a cheap rubber ball for like $6, $6 to $7. So again, you're still saving money on a 20-pound ball online. You're looking at them costing somewhere around 45, 50, sometimes even 60 bucks, depending on which one you're wanting. That's it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was a little bit longer than I expected, but if it helped you, great. If it's too long, give me a thumbs down. I don't know. Talk to you guys on the next video. Talk to you later.